guys. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to get the bluesiest sound and riffs out of your diatonic harmonica. I've got a C harmonica here. I do a bunch of teaching, so if you're new to this channel, I'm a focused blues harmonica teacher. That's what I aim to share, is tips and information about how to get good technique going and strategy on the diatonic, but specifically related to blues. So the topic today again is going to be getting the bluesiest sounding riffs. What do I mean by that, and how can somebody do it? It's not as easy as it sounds, I suppose, because it requires the technique of bending and being able to really manipulate these bends. So I'm going to give you some ideas today that are just basically blues riffs. Grab a C harmonica, but I'm going to put a twist on it and have an angle to it. Before I jump right into that, I want to just mention that there is a Global Blues Harmonica Summit event coming June 2nd. If you don't know what that is, go to blowyourharp.com. If you're seeking intermediate strategies and ideas and want to get focused on things such as bending on holes 2 and 3, and because that's where we have the majority of our bends to work on, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. If you want to get good at third position and learn how to play minor keys and beyond, in a new position beyond second position or first position, I'll get into that. And strategies for the high end of the harmonica, playing holes 6 through 10. Sam Friedman's joining me. He's got some ear training and phrasing topics. These are great topics for intermediate players. I was calling it advanced beginner. It's now called the Intermediate Global Blues Harmonica Summit because those topics are definitely intermediate. C harp. Everybody got a C harmonica? See if you can figure out my theme here. So my theme, well, I'm not going to tell you. Just let me play a little bit. I don't know if I'll see comments pop up on this feed or not, or what's going to happen, but see if somebody can type a message up and let me know if they figure out what my theme is. We're going to learn some of these. What's my theme? Anybody know? I'm going to tell you, because I'm not going to wait. I won't wait to see if anybody is going to throw something out there. The theme is starting on bent notes. I'm also going to put in the video description, besides a link to that event that I mentioned, a link to a lesson you can actually, if you like this kind of stuff, it targets exactly what we're doing today in a very similar manner. It's an audio lesson called Bent Note Blues Riffs. So what's the theme? Starting on a bent note. The bluesiest riffs you'll hear begin on bent notes. Almost always. And it also happens to be something intermediate players avoid a lot, because it's really tough, and beginners obviously, it's really tough to land right on the proper bent note you're going for. So let me give you some ideas of strategy for how to get into doing this. Let's say you're already bending, but you haven't really thought about this when I'm talking about this topic of beginning all your ideas on a bent note, at least for a practice strategy, and then bringing that into your play. So let's just talk about it. Any of these are challenging. Don't be surprised if you're a bender, but you're having issues with these riffs. Use it as, something to shoot for. I gotta have a sip of cold coffee. I don't recommend drinking coffee and playing harp. You mess up your harmonicas. All right, here we go. Two draw is the hole I'm aiming for. The note I'm beginning on is 2 double bend. So I'm trying to go right to this note before hitting a draw note or anything on the way to it. I'm trying to get right to it. Let me show you how I practice this, or how I teach people to practice this. If you can't go and play this double bend to come out right away, try just breathing it on the 2 draw, getting down to the note, try to get as low as you can. When you get to that note, freeze. Work on controlling the position of the tongue, and then take the harmonica out of your mouth without moving your tongue position, like this. and your goal is to put it back in your mouth and try to hit the bend note, that bend right out of the gates. So somebody try this with me. C harmonica. If you put it back and haven't moved anything, you should be able to get that note to come out. Go along and try this on the key important, let's talk about cross harp. What are the notes that matter the most? What can you get the most mileage out of? 2 double bend as a starting note, as a starting bent note is what I mean. 1 draw half step bend. 3 draw half step especially, out of all the bends that are available in 3. And 4 bend, which is a half step down. Those are the notes to focus on. So here they are. 1 half step bend, which is all the way down. C harp. 2 all the way down. 3 half step. And then 4 bend. These are all notes you might have to work at to get. So let's learn this riff. Two double bend to 2 draw. 3 draw half step bend. 2 draw. You could stop right there. I added 2 double bend, 2 draw to the end. The quieter you can play this, the more control you're demonstrating with your technique on bending. So if you're finding you feel like you're forcing more air to get the note to cooperate, then just chill out and work on just tongue position. Let's do one on 3 half step then. I say lift it because this is like how I would use it anyway. Lifting, I mean bringing it slightly sharper. You just don't want to go all the way up to the 3 draw because it's not in the scale and it's too sharp. So what I do is I aim for around half and I'm lifting that note. Saludos, Gabriel. And I'm lifting that note but not going all the way to 3 draw. The note you're really lifting towards is around that blue note between the major and minor third. There's a note, and it's sweet to use it. So I'm going to 4 draw. These are all inhale. And then just bend it back down. I actually start on a bend, lift it, and bend back. And bring in 2 draw. If you're not used to these types of riffs, get used to them. This is where the money is. This is where all the juice is for all these bluesy sounds. 2 draw, double bend. And then we did. In the lesson that I called out earlier, the bent note blues riffs, I actually play these riffs very slowly and I call it the notes one at a time so you can write these down like 3 draw half step. 3 draw, I do it really slow and then I play it for you so you can play it along and then we jam it in some music so you can see how it sounds. Now, the other note that I called out was 4 bend and 1 draw half step bend. So let me just do one more today and give you a 4 bend example of a really bluesy riff starting again on this bent note. A lot of people confuse the bend with a blow note. So if you're more around the beginner intermediate, you're just getting into bending, you often are trying to blow thinking that's the note I'm playing. But it's not, it's a bend note again. So I'm playing 4 bend to 4 draw, just let your tongue drop to get the draw note. And then I bend it again. Right? So I'm everything you hear me doing is bend, draw, bend. There's no blow notes, just to be really clear, they're all draw notes. So bend, draw, bend on 4, and then 3 draw. You can play that clean because it's going to be a passing note. Muy bien, gracias. A lot of Spanish speakers here. Quizás quieres que hable en español, but I wouldn't get very far. So, 4 bend, 4 draw, 4 bend again, and 3 draw. Just practice that for a minute. And then when that's starting to come out, go back to 4 bend, relax, and slide to 2 draw. So it sounds like this. Right? These are where all these, again, the title of this video is like super bluesy or ultra bluesy, blues riffs, whatever I called it, because the bent notes are essential. If you need help on the 2 and 3 draw, most people are struggling that I work with to really micro control not only the half step bends, because there are multiple half steps in 2 and 3. If you don't know it, there's 2 half step bends in hole 2 and 3 half step bends in hole 3. But there's all the micro bending and all the nuance between these steps. So your ability to really control your tongue is very important. This is something I'm getting into in the Global Blues Summit. I know I'm bringing it back to that, but it's the best way and probably the most affordable way you could ever work with me and ask your own questions live while I'm teaching. Kind of like this, but the difference is it's all recorded and it's structured, and it's an amazing experience if you've never attended one. It's really cool, man, to see all these people from all over the world tuning in and chatting in a chat box. It's awesome. So last thought about this is try to combine multiple bent notes together. Usually a draw note between connects the dots. There's a draw note on 2 from 3 bent, but I'm gonna bend it again. So keep bringing in those bent notes in your playing. You can bring in the blow notes too, but bring them in more musically and think about them as passing tones versus people that are bringing in a blow note as part of their main riff. That is not bluesy, and you probably know that, and you're trying to figure out what's a better way to play it. Replace your blow notes with bent notes. They're usually located right below the blow note you're playing. Could be draw, bend, okay? Same with 3. So more draw notes, more bent notes in your cross harp playing especially. Da-ta, sure. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. Maybe tying the notes. And you know, when you're working on bending, this isn't a whole thing about strategy or technique for learning how to bend better. But along with that topic be thinking about this. When you practice bending, what have you been doing? However you've been practicing it is how it starts to come out in your playing. Some people don't practice, so it doesn't come out. Some people practice one way and it comes out that one way. For example, they practice bends like this. Which is a great way to isolate half steps, right? But then they're only playing, maybe when they perform or they go to play harp, they're only hitting these notes similar fashion. Which is really cool because you can bring it into melodic phrasing. But what about all the little... What about when bends are slurring in and out of your music and that beautiful sound you can get? You have to practice it that way too. There's a million ways to practice bending. Any questions? This is spontaneous. Just want to put something up. Right now I'm in beautiful Colorado for a little bit. Heading back to Chicago soon for a little work. Things are good here. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Keep those topics. If you've never been to my community board, head to the community board and check out the topics. I'm trying to engage you guys to figure out what you want the most. People were talking about songs. I mentioned song studies, breaking down like a famous solo or part of a riff. I think this is one of the best ways to learn blues harp and to ear train and to test your ability to hear nuance and then apply it and say, what kind of technique do I have available to replicate that? So maybe we'll do a little bit of that. How about one more third position riff before we go? C harmonica. Same strategy, you know, take a position and like third position and just take a bent note and try to go right to it. So 4 bend, 4 draw, C harp, 4 bend, 4 draw, 5 draw, 6 blow, 4 bend, 4 draw, 5 draw, 6 blow, 6 bend, 6 draw, bend it back down, slide to 4 draw. Notice how strategic the blow note was. It was just to get to the bent note underneath it. It was a passing tone in the phrase. There's the blow. But you bend it right away. So as you find a new riff, let's say you go back and write some of these riffs down. Last idea, and then I'm going to run. Rearrange the riff. Work on your phrasing by thinking about the space between your notes. Let me show you what I mean. That's the way I played it, but I could have played it. Same notes. Or so play with the phrasing and the timing of these ideas to come up with your own idea. It means you might have to hang out on a note a little bit longer in a certain area. This is one of the coolest ways to just come up with your own ideas. Just look at the notes in front of you on a piece of paper. Don't guess. And then just start rearranging, regrouping those notes. You know, really try to really stretch your ability, like, you know, really think about the syncopation. Syncopation means the timing and rhythm of the notes, the way you're rearranging and playing them, the rhythmic accent that you give or don't give attention to when you play it. All right. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in today. Right on. Thanks for coming on, Peter. And, you know, I'll post this up so you guys can go back and review the video. If you ever have questions, reach out to me here or at harmonica123.com. See you guys.